So it is a rainy Saturday, and what do we do on rainy Saturdays? Laundry. But also we were thinking it'd be fun to bake a pie. We're getting into fall, so all the fall vibes are happening. And I was doing a little research, and did you know one of Walt's favorite desserts are fruit pies? And one of those fruit pies he loves is apple pie. And they make an amazing apple pie at the Whispering Canyon Café at the Wilderness Lodge. So we are going to recreate that amazing pie today. So follow us along. First, we're going to make the pie crust. And I saw a lot of different recipes online for this apple pie. And they would do a pie crust that was half butter, half shortening. I have a pie crust that is tried and true. It's by Martha Stewart, and I absolutely love it. I use it for all of my pies. I've been baking pies for 15 plus years now, and everybody loves this pie because it's super flaky. The crust is super flaky and just works perfectly. And I have my helper, my sister, Lauren, and she's loving baking like I love baking, so it's like a fun thing we do together. So we're gonna do 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and we put that in a food processor. I like doing it in the food processor versus hand crumping it. I feel like it gets a better mixture, so we're gonna do that first. So after adding the flour in our food processor, then we grab 2 sticks of butter, and it's gotta be super cold butter, not room temperature or warm or melty or anything. So good, nice and hard. And I like the Kerrygold butter. So we're gonna do that. We cut it up in little pieces. I just go by the lines and cut it by each line, and then we'll throw each little piece into the food processor and mix it up. So after we added the flour to the food processor, we're adding a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of sugar. We're kind of eyeballing the salt. You don't want to go overboard, but like 2 or 3 cranks if you have like a crank salt, and then a teaspoon of sugar. And you definitely want that. Don't skip out on either the salt or the sugar. It really helps make that crust super flaky. So then after that, we'll put the lid on, and then we'll chop up the pieces of super cold butter and then start to dollop it in as we're running the food processor. Will have the consistency of wet sand, and you want to make sure all your butter is nice and mixed up and it has that kind of more granular look into it. Now we're going to add our water. So your water can range from 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup, and it has to be ice cold water. Again, that's just what makes it that flaky consistency. And so I've noticed, I lived in Colorado. We now live down in Florida. Up in Colorado, I needed more water because it's drier. Down here, since it's more humid, we need less water. So that's why you kind of have to gauge between that 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup. And so we're going to add it now, and what you'll do is you'll add a little bit, pulse it, keep adding it till you get that nice clumped, and it looks like a fully mixed blended pie crust, and it looks all well done. There might be a couple little spots of the dry flour and stuff, but for the most part, it should kind of all start wrapping around that food processor. So that's what it looks like. So that's what I'm talking about when you're pulsing, and as you add your water, it's gonna start keep forming, mixing together till you get this nice dough ball. And that's what you want it to make sure that all the flour and stuff all kind of comes up there perfectly. And I just wanna show you, have still about 1/4 cup left. So I only used about 1/4 cup. So that just shows you, you kind of gotta gauge it. Always start out with 1/2 cup and then just pulse till you see it all kind of clump together. So here is our dough, and this would actually make 2 bottoms because this apple pie, it does not have a top crust. So it just has a bottom, and then there's the filling, and there's like a batter that goes in with the filling that is gonna kind of bake up and make a little bit of a top crust too. So this you can split in half, and then we'll roll out the 1/2. And this one, I mean, they do really well too. You can kind of press it down into a disc and put it in a Ziploc bag with some parchment paper and throw it in the freezer, and it'll last like up to 3 months. So you can really hold on to that for a little bit too if you only want to make one pie first. And I like to kind of flour flip so nothing gets all sticky. Just makes it easier to transfer onto your pan. And another point, I'm not putting too much pressure down on the dough. You don't want it to be paper thin, but at the same time, you don't want it to be super thick. So you just kind of feel it out as you go along. Another trick I learned from Martha Stewart was when you're trying to transfer your dough onto your pie dish, and when you try to grab it, sometimes it breaks and falls apart and it becomes a big problem. You can take your rolling pin, basically just kind of roll it up. So there you go. And then transfer it. And that way nothing breaks or tears. And then you want to just kind of press that down. So we have our pie nice into the pan and everything's pressed down pretty good, and you have to be pretty gentle with it or else it'll crack and split. But then what I like to do next is I actually like to leave this excess and I'll fold it under my pie. And 2 reasons: I like having a nice kind of thick edge, and then it helps me give me a better edge when I'm crimping. So I'll first fold the excess, keeps it nice and clean, and then we'll crimp the edge. So then like that, and then what I crimp, pinch. So it's all done, and I'm actually gonna throw this in the fridge so it gets hardened up a little bit while we make our filling. All right, now we are going to do the apple filling part, which is kind of cool. I've never done this before. Well, I've peeled and cored apples, but I've never steamed them. And so this recipe calls for steaming the apples before putting in the batter and before baking. So usually I'll just peel, core, and throw it in the oven and with my pie and bake it. I'm curious to see how it comes out when you steam the apples first. So Lauren's going to peel and core and slice them up, and then we're gonna throw them in the steamer to steam them. All peeled up and ready to go, so we're gonna cut them up and slice them and then throw them in our steamer. All right, so while the apples are steaming, and I was gonna let them go for like 10 minutes and check them to see how tender they are, but while they're steaming, we're gonna work on the batter now. So first we're gonna cream our butter and our sugar, and then after that's nice and creamy, we're gonna add the baking powder, the heavy cream, and the eggs. All right, so while Lauren was mixing up the batter, I took the apples out of the steamer and then added the spice. So if you have a pre-made apple spice seasoning, it's about 1/2 teaspoon of that. If you don't, it's a blend of cinnamon, allspice. I like to add a little clove, ginger, and nutmeg. So I blended all that up. So now we're gonna do a layer of the batter at the bottom. We're gonna add the apples in and then top it again with a layer of the batter. right, so there you have it. We're gonna pop this in the oven at 350 for 40 minutes. It says to put a tinfoil topper on, so we're gonna put it in tinfoil, throw it in the oven for 40 minutes. After the 40 minutes, take the tinfoil off and then bake it for an additional 20 minutes, which I believe will give it that nice kind of crystallized topping. So let's go. While we put this in the oven and while it bakes for 40 minutes, we're gonna go do some laundry. All right, so quick update. The pie is officially out of the oven and it smells absolutely amazing. The laundry's going, and to be honest, it smells like the Wilderness Lodge in here. It's so great. Perfect for a cozy Saturday rainy day. We're gonna let this cool a little bit longer and then I'll cut it up so you can see what the inside looks like. And we're gonna try it. Wow, that looks really good. I've never tried an apple pie like this before, so this is going to be interesting. The crust is definitely flaky, had a nice snap to it. Wow, that's really good. Oh, perfect end to a Saturday. Beautiful pie. Laundry's done and smells amazing. Fresh bergamot, wildflower, and fir in our Wilderness Breeze laundry detergent. What more can you ask for?